Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Thank you so much for joining me today to discuss this topic, Leica Register 360 workflow optimized for CloudWorks for Revit and Jetstream Viewer. Quick reminder, this is a part 2 video. If you'd like to check out part 1, it'll be on our YouTube page. Quick introduction of myself. My name is David McQuillan. I'm a senior reality capture specialist here at ATG USA on our reality capture team. I've been doing reality capture for about 6.5 years. If you have any questions for me after this webinar, feel free to contact me directly via my email or by atg@atgusa.com. If you miss the sound of my voice, I have many other videos, tech tip videos, which are quick, like 4 or 5 minute videos. I have hour-long webinars, and then we have a ton of other videos from other members of my team, as well as other departments here at ATG. If you'd like to subscribe, we have our own YouTube channel and our own LinkedIn page. Generally speaking, our team will push out, 2 webinars, a couple tech tip videos, a blog, white paper once a month or each, a couple times a month. So lots of content out there. Feel free to subscribe to stay updated on all that. Big shout out to our hardware partner, BIMbox. They make these amazing computers, and if you consistently work with point cloud data or any sort of data that's visually intensive heavy or data processing heavy or storage or anything like that, highly recommend getting one of these bin boxes. All of the members of the tech teams here at ATG use them, and we're very thankful for that. They really help keep production going. Another shout out to our hardware and software partners. So I'll be covering a couple different software today. Leica Geosystems makes the Cyclone Register 360, and then Autodesk makes the Revit software, and Leica Geosystems also makes the Jetstream Viewer. So I'll be covering those 3 different softwares today. So the mission of today's webinar, so how to use some advanced features in Register 360s, Register 360 in combination with CloudWorks for Revit and Jetstream Viewer. And the main things we're going to be hitting is, while we're in Register 360, I'll show you the advantages of using the Limit Box Manager, how to adjust the UCS, how to rename setups, and then CloudWorks for Revit will be doing the import, doing levels, playing with the box fence tool, True View, and the automated tools like the door, windows, and walls, and then showing the Jetstream Viewer as well. Let's go ahead and hop into the software demo.
Hello. My last webinar, Register 360 Part 1, I covered the basics of the software, including the interface, importing, registering, and exporting. If you are new to Register 360, please check out my Part 1 Register 360 webinar. Today, we'll be covering some of the more advanced tools in registration, and also how to change some things to set up your data better. So when it imports into other software, such as Revit or Jetstream Viewer, it'll do it more effectively. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we have here in Cyclone Register 360, the first screen you're going to see. Now I've already imported my data. This was field registered, so just a quick recap there. I just clicked pre-registered, and then these import options are now new options as of the latest Register 360 update. I think it was maybe a week ago. One is importing the images, so I want colorized scans. I want to be able to hop around in my images and such. And then the next one is the minimum and maximum distance, which is great, especially if you or we're scanning outside and you don't really need points um, expanding, further than your object of interest, like a building or something. So basically, it'll just eliminate the points past 328 feet. So because I've already imported, I'm just going to hop back over into Review and Optimize. And we see that the links have been created. Like I said, I had done them in the field. We can continue some of our field registration, but or sorry, some of our in-office registration, but because that's already done here, I'm going to just show you some additional tools. First thing I'm going to do is just expand this and then press on the bundle name here. And when it does that, I'm able to go into the bundle view. So the first thing I'm going to do is check out my my different views here, and let's just view it from the side. Now, this tool is very important here. So the idea behind, exporting an LGS file from Register 360 and importing it into, let's say, CloudWorks for Revit or Jetstream Viewer, is that what's called Limit Box Manager, which is this tool here, is going to retain all of the limit boxes or fencing or it has many names, but basically the different views with limited data shown. And so it carries over and it saves, and you can utilize those in both CloudWorks for Revit and Jetstream Viewer. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I have made some here already. I'm just going to go ahead and click those off. As we're seeing here, we've got the name of it, whether it's active right now, whether it's visible right now, and if we want to export it. So this is important. You may not want these different things active and visible, but you do, at the end of the day, want to export them and have them carrying over to the other software. So we can always just sort of leave this open on an additional screen or whatnot, but let's go ahead and make an additional one right now. So I'm going to hover over this. It says create limit box. Additionally, if I click on it, it has create quick limit box. And then I can go over here to this QLB size and adjust the create quick limit box size. So let's try this create quick one. So kind of a default size here. This might be a great option if we want to specifically look at like door frames or something. We could create a QLB size that would be the approximate size of most door frames and just kind of quickly create several limit box saves in the limit box manager for each one of those door frames ahead of time. So when we go into Revit, we just can basically just open up all the doors or basically view all the doors and then just sort of quickly add a door for each one of those. So first thing I'm gonna do is create a limit box with just the roof eliminated. I'm gonna go over here and press save. And I'm gonna call this no roof. I guess technically it's a ceiling, but etc. Okay. Now let's view it from the top. These are actually two separate rooms. So I'm gonna position myself, add another one. Go. So let's move this over to that split. Okay. All right. That part done. Let's save that. Slide 2. Just use that as a quick example for a doorway. So you noticed I had changed my quick limit box size about 8 feet. And I'm just going to go ahead and click there. And let's drop this down. Side. That. Okay. I think that's pretty good for limit boxes. Let's go back. So we've got a bunch of them saved now for specific views while we're in other software. Next thing I'm going to do is if I click on the sitemap, this button here, it'll show us the UCSs, or the Universal Coordinate System. So the first one being pre-registered, it's what's established while we're registering in the field, and this next one is user created, and I can edit that, things like that, but I'm just going to create a new one. So actually let's turn on the pre-registered for now, and then let's pick a scan. One, a scan that we're going to use to orient the data, and two, a scan what we're going to use to basically establish the level or the zero z value or zero elevation of our data. And so one, the orientation is something you're going to want to do. You can always, rotate or orient in Revit, but basically we're just taking it one step further and using the UCS in this now, so we don't have to do it in Revit. And then as well as if we establish the level and the elevation is 0, then in Revit we don't need to change the level 1 mark as well. And it also just, makes a cleaner data set So I'm going to pick something towards what I know as the front, because I collected this data. So I'm just going to left click on the setup, and I'm in the sitemap view, not in the bundle view or the setup cloud view. I'm in the sitemap view. And I'm going to hold down my shift key, move around, rotate, and then what I like to do is set up in the corner until I see a right angle. And then I'm going to choose this UCS tool. I'm just going to point that straight up. Name it, just call it my name for now so I know I made it. Okay, so now we've established the orientation of my data set. Next thing I'm going to do is right click it, do show up in setup view. I'm going to go over here, and instead of my sort of view and rotation tools that we see here, I'm going to go ahead and choose the pick points tool. And it's establishing that this Z elevation is negative 5.3 feet. So that would tell me that my scanner on my tripod was at 5.3 feet. So now what I'm going to do is we can hop back into sitemap. Over here to my coordinate system I created. Click on it, edit, go to my Z value, add 5.3 feet, update it, hop back down here. All right, now we're looking at 0. So, like I said, it's just a nice way to set yourself up for more success down the line. Maybe you're just the Register 360 guy, or maybe you're just the Revit guy. But might as well, if you're two separate people, might as well help out whoever's going to be using this data next and help orient this data using those two tools, or rather functions inside of the UCS tool. Now, of course, if we had targets in this data that were shot with a total station, let's say, that UCS would be established based off the control points. So we wouldn't be messing around with this sort of orientation and elevation if the data was done with these coordinate was done with control points. So better to export the data with that UCS. Another thing I like to do to help somebody out who could be using this data in the future is renaming my setups. And I'll show you a quick and easy way to do that. We're going to go ahead to this select tool and just select all the scans on this side. Like I said before, these are actually two different rooms. We've got some connecting scans here in the middle, but we'll let those just be part of the other side here. So as we see here, the scans have been selected. I'm going to right click and rename selected setups. So we can call this side 1, or side 2. Start at 1, and then the format, whether it has like a dash or underscore or spacing, and then a padding as well. Depending on how many scans you foresee, you could obviously make this a lot more higher, but I think so side 1001, and it's just going to count out from there. So it's renamed. Now imagine too if this was floor 1 or floor 2 or east or west or something, just something in general to help out. So for this one, I can go ahead and use the select tool, or I can just hold down Control, right click, rename select setups. Let's just go ahead and do side 2. And then you can start at 11. So like I said, the side 1, 001, that goes up to 10. And we can start at 11, or we can just start it back at 1 again. Go. Here's our UCSs, and I'm ready to export. And like I said, this video is more focused on using CloudWorks for Revit and also for the Jetstream Viewer tool, which requires an LGS file type. So I'm going to click LGS over here in our publishing options. Let's just go ahead and save that. We can check our export options. So just quick, we have 19 setups, 3 different UCSs in there, which are going to reveal themselves later on when we look in Revit and Jetstream Viewer. Oh, let's see, we have 0 limit box. So maybe we need to go back to our bundle cloud. Yep, so we did not select any of our exports here. So, good catch there. Okay, finalize. Oops. Okay, back to this, LGS, export options. We can rename the project. We can turn on and turn off the point cloud data, measurements that are be carrying over into TrueView Enterprise. We're going to include the panel images, include that they're HDR, and then we could choose the resolution of the images or even protect it with a password. So I'm just going to leave all that as default and press publish. Okay, here we go. Okay, now we have Revit open, and let's take a look at that LGS file that we just exported. Let's go to new project, architectural template. Okay. Let's go over here to the CloudWorks tab, open LGS. It immediately tries to open up the one that you were using before, but let's just select this new one here. And now here's our list of the UCSs that we had created in there. And if you remember, I named my name there. So let's operate off of that one. There's the point cloud. So those of you that are familiar with using an RCP file inside of Revit, there's a unified versus ununified. The way the LGS file works inside of CloudWorks Revit is that the point cloud is unified, but the setup still exists. You're still able to sort of view inside each one of the setups, but the point cloud is a combined point cloud. And it operates very quickly, not a lot of lag. So LGS files, basically what I'm saying is they work pretty well inside of Revit. And so now I'm going to go over some of the CloudWorks functions. As you see, we have basically our different opening options. So an LGS file right off of a local source. If you have Jetstream Enterprise or a Jetstream server, you can basically just connect via IP and bring that LGS file over. Next one I'll explain is the point. So we have level 1, level 2 already, but let's just go ahead and redefine that so we can use this point tool, maybe get something a little more accurate there.
Um, we can call it whatever we want, and we can even create plans off that, like that. Same thing with the ceiling. Call it level 1 ceiling. Create a ceiling plan. And so now those options are still available to us on the left-hand side there. Next one is the clipping manager. So like I had mentioned, all the things that we did in Register 360, let's take a look at this doorway. So we left click it, activate it, enable, and then here it is. So let's bring that back. I don't want this one anymore. So let's do ceiling, activate, enable. So now we can look at the top. This box fence is a really efficient tool. It's basically a limit box, but just based off of a polygon. So you can use it several times in a row, and then it just saves it in your clipping manager. So we could just use this very quickly and say, side 1, opening, side 1, something like that. And it's always just going to be saving inside of the active clipping groups that you've created. So let's leave it like that for now. Let's continue with sort of the clipping things. Let's do one of these quick slice wall. Let's just select a point in the wall that we want to slice through. Go back here to our clipping manager. Its default thickness is 0.033 feet. Let's change that to 2 feet. And then if we wanted to, we can move forward and backward, or in this case, up and down, until we sort of get a different area that we like. Let's take that look from the side there. So as you can see, it's moving, or we can go ahead and just reset it back to where it was. And let's turn back that one on. So another one, let's say this is a multi-story building and you wanted to peek inside of it to basically get a side profile view to determine, basically the thickness in between the levels and things like that. So we can come over here, get a side view, chop a clip, back here. Now we have a wall thickness in there, and if this was a multi-story building, we could again go back to this point tool and just assign different elevations throughout. Next I'll show is the wall tool. So basically level 1 is my starting point, level 2 is my ending point. Exterior is fine, and you can just go ahead and keep clicking throughout this building. I do not want to create a new wall type. I'm just going to go ahead and use this generic 5-inch for now. Okay. Escape to get off that tool. Do a little bit of cleanup. Move that over a bit. Extend that out. Go.
Okay, let's take a look. Now let's try to use this door tool. So I'm going to use a couple different tools here. First one is my box fence. I'm just going to select around this door here. And then I want to verify the measurement first. So I'm going to go ahead and open TrueSpace, click a location, pick a setup. Navigate to view this door, do a quick measurement, about 5 foot, by 7 foot. Hop back in here, zoom in a bit. Let's choose this door. Click the wall that it's in, and then the fence. Let's create a new type. Let's do a 5 foot by 7 foot. There we go. Okay. Happy with that. Press escape. To the clipping manager, turn off that box fence. Let's say this is a window here. Let's try that one as well. Let's do the box fence. Get the area around it. Okay. Okay, so I was showing you a couple tools here in CloudWorks for Revit. I'm not a native Revit user, so I apologize if it was a bit choppy there, but I'm going to go ahead and save this as, or export it as an IFC file. And I'm going to open up both the point cloud and these 3D objects as an IFC file in Jetstream Viewer, and then show you some tools in there as well. Okay, here we are in Jetstream Viewer. Jetstream Viewer is a free software that accepts LGS files, and you can either import them locally or through Jetstream server. Let's go ahead and open up that point cloud. So immediately when you open up the LGS file, it gives you a preview here. I'm gonna go ahead and close that down, and let's take a look at the data itself. So we have a couple different import options, the LGS, Jetstream Viewer as an LGS file as well, some different viewing options here. Whether we want to see the scan locations or the point cloud or the model, which is the IFC file type, and the geotags, and then also changing different view types. You can use the clipping boxes, measurements, and even take some pictures and videos, as well as view thermal data if you have it. So let's go ahead and use this sealing off, and let's import that IFC file. So now that we've imported the IFC file, we can see that the model has been placed. We have our door and our walls and the window that we made. So this would be a great option. Let's say if you were modeling in Revit, you had Revit open and you were continuing to model and you wanted to basically check your work, every once in a while, export as an IFC, lay it over the model, and see your progress, but also just like maybe how somebody would use recap, you can go in here and make some measurements. But the difference being is that the individual using it wouldn't need to purchase the license of recap in order to do it, because the software is free, and also that this Jetstream Viewer can work off of a portable version, so nothing needs to be installed on a local machine. So it's a great way to deliver your LGS files to, let's say, a contractor, and the portable Jetstream Viewer all in one folder, like let's say on a USB stick, and so they can view the data without any purchasing or installation of software. So that concludes my Register 360 webinar part 2. Basically, how to optimize your data for better import into Jetstream Viewer and CloudWorks for Revit, and also just a brief overview of each one of those softwares and the tools that it has. So I hope you enjoyed the webinar. Again, I have a part 1, which covers more basics in Register 360. Go ahead and take a look at that. Thank you.
All right, guys. That concludes the webinar. If there's any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. You can get a recording of that. It should be on our YouTube page. Excuse me. I don't know if you want to find me on LinkedIn or message me in my email. I can send it to you. I can send you a link or something. Here's my email, dmcquillan@atgusa.com. Yeah, I can certainly get you a recording of the part 1 there. It's really just like an introduction to Register 360, how to import, how to do the registration, different export options, things like that. So yeah, appreciate that you liked it. Is there any other questions, or I can go ahead and close it down here? Okay, looks like we're all set. I appreciate everybody's time. Hope you all have a good rest of your day and a good weekend, and hope to talk to you all at some point. Thank you.